Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a little bit off the path of my usual videos relating it to mechanical stuff, but this project is going to be not only integral in two other projects down the line that I have put together. This project will be using not only Land Rover parts or engines to run it, but it also be using the parts being made from this device to build another project, which is a hybrid Land Rover using a Range Rover Classic and a Series 2A body that I'm going to be merging. So this is a Torchmate plasma cutting machine that I bought used. It apparently was used, but I don't see much evidence of it being used because all the slats and the box, the water box was super clean. The gantry and all of the rails were super clean. No, slag or any of that. So the gentleman that sold it to me gave me a good deal on it, but nonetheless, it had some issues with it, with the computer that drives the motors and the servos. It had to be sent out to get repaired. Anyhow, so this is my project that the idea is that it's gonna be on a trailer that I've been building for the last few years. Different ideas, and now it's finally hopefully gonna live here and stop changing ideas anytime soon. I really like this setup. So the idea is that I can travel with this and move it around. I have very little space in there, so why not put it on a trailer? So I basically removed the tables that it came with, and I mounted it. I mounted it to the frame. So I made these little standoff for the water box, and they basically bolt onto here. It's already been leveled. I can level I leveled the trailer, and then I leveled the table, and so whenever I can just level the trailer, it'll level this part out. It's a Torchmate made by Lincoln, and it's going to be running a Lincoln Tomahawk 1000. It's like a 60 amp machine, but I'm only going to be cutting using 40 amps for the materials that I'm going to be using. I don't think I'll ever cut more than a quarter on there. Anyhow, here's the machine. I just wanted to show you guys. Yes, it got a Land Rover series. Not sure if I'll keep that on there because I have no space to store it. Might as well make it part of the roof. But that is a tropical roof, which is kind of rare in itself. So yes, there might be some issues with this. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Okay, I'm back. There might be some issues with this. Wherever I go, wherever I take this, I might have to buy a new grounding rod to ground all my, not only the table, the computer, and the electrical, so it all has proper grounding, probably including the trailer itself. It's gonna have to be grounded. The original idea, this is for another project. I had a generator here, but I don't think this was for another. It was going to be like an overland idea type of trailer, but I've abandoned this, so this is not going to live here anymore. I'm going to take it out, but because it'll vibrate the table, and so therefore I want to eliminate that any vibration, and it also could create electromagnetic, because it's so close. The generator part is so close to the table, it might create frequency interruptions there. But here's the fun part where the Land Rovers come in. So this is a 4x4 table, right? I need a generator, and I need air compressor, and I need a evaporator kit that'll cool down the air and dry it. So I'm gonna be using this, and then in here I have the plasma right there, the Tomahawk 1000. I have the dryer there, Dominic Hunter, I believe it's called. And then I have that compressor. Obviously it's not enough, it's like a 20-gallon. I managed to do a couple cuts, but it was just not enough. It was right away it will get kicked off. So one of the most important things is that you have to have constant airflow. So here's what I have. I have this 4.6 engine that I'm going to be using for another project down the line. So rather than just sitting there not doing anything, why don't I have that engine running, creating the drive power to, I can't see it here, but way at the back of I have two V8s, two Rover V8 engines. And they're not good, something's wrong with them, but I don't really need them to perform well. I just need them to pump air. So what I'm thinking is I am going, oh look, here are the pups. Hey buddy. How's it going? And here's the other one. Anyhow. So that one is going to be carbureted. So I'm gonna transform it into a carburetor. I'll probably eventually be using that engine on my ambulance. For the time being, I'm gonna get it running, convert it to a carburetor, and I'm gonna show you guys, excuse the mess, I've been cleaning up and organizing things. So here is my diagram. So it's gonna be a V8 running. Okay guys, so I was doing some of the edit and I thought I'd slow down a little bit on the explanation that I did earlier outside. So I figured I'd go through a little slower explanation of this diagram and the situation. So we gotta produce air for the plasma cutter. I want to do it mobile and on low budget. I know I can get a $2,000 setup from Harbor Freight, but why if I have all the parts here, and it'll be much more fun to build this. So for now, this is what I'm gonna attempt to do. So it'll be two Rover V8s, right? Let me use this two Rover V8s. One will be running, and the other one will just be separately, just a air pump basically. So the second one's not gonna have a lot of the ancillary stuff. It's just gonna be the block heads and a manifold to bring air into the tank. So this one will do all the driving, this one will do the pumping. The idea is to hook it up and do a stack configuration to save space. So hopefully I can do this. If not, I have plenty of drive shafts to do a linear configuration, but a stack configuration, I can have both of them being driven by a chain or some kind of V-belt or even a serpentine belt. It'll be on a stand so I can bring it in and out of the garage or even onto my truck. So hopefully this setup will work. I have some ideas about the frame. I have some exhaust manifolds I've already welded together for a previous project that I can just have two manifold exhausts. I'll have a radiator for the driving engine, and I'll probably support it from the back, and I'll probably support it at the motor mounts on the sides. so I can balance. And then they'll share the same piece of vertical tubing over here, you know, to do that. So I don't know if this one might be welded onto the frame down here, but for sure this one's gonna have to go stacked up there and attached to the vertical cross members. And then this is the idea, because when you're driving as I understand it, I have never done a setup like this. I only understand it from what I've read and from what I've seen online, is that you're gonna have an air tank being filled by an air pump. And so once this reaches PSI maximum, or it's maximum PSI that you set it off, you have to have a way to not only, if this keeps running at idle, this has to open to atmospheric temp or pressure, so you can bypass the air comes out. And obviously there's going to be, you know, check valves and close off valves and stuff like that. But the idea is that we don't want to overpressurize this system. We will have a safety valve and the unloader here that's going to be triggering this valve, and we're going to do an accelerator either by cable or by parallax board. So that's going to be pending based on what I can find online as far as what will work with this setup. But the idea is that this will trigger this, and it'll trigger this board, and it'll actuate the idle or accelerate the pedal to, you know, build up pressure. You don't want it running all the time, creating this pressure for no reason. You're wasting energy and you're wasting just being loud. So this air tank, I do not know how big it's gonna be. That's still to be determined. I'm thinking between 30 and maybe 60. Definitely not 80. Too much. Because I think this will have enough pumping. It would be able to pump up quickly to build up pressure of the tank fairly quickly. Therefore, not having to rely on such a big air tank. So that's the plan with the unloading of the unloading diagram. But there's a lot of loose ends on here. This is just like a quick sketch on what I have going in my head and what some of the research I've done. So all that as we go will dictate what starts to, and as we start to run it, we're gonna run into things. But if you have any ideas or comments, I welcome them, and we'll see where this takes us. And that's it. That's pretty much what I have so far. Like, again, this is all very rough, so we'll see where it takes us. And I'm sure we'll fail, and I'm sure we'll find some cool things that we need to fix. But I'd rather build this than to buy a $2,000 unit, because this not only will be fun, but it might be a lot more efficient by having 8 cylinders pumping all at once. Anyhow, I'll talk to you guys on the next one, and follow up on the remainder of this video. It'll come up right now. I run the plasma machine. Maybe one day I'll put this generator on this engine and drive both the generator and the air pump all together. I don't know yet, but one step at a time. That one works, this one works, so I don't need to really be complicating things a little bit too much right now. But it'll be nice to have everything all at once, maybe one day. But for now, that's what I wanted to show you guys. And I know this video is not much of my my audience, but I think it'll be a fun project because it'll use Land Rover parts, and eventually this project will build a Land Rover, and then I'll be making a lot of special parts for the body using this machine. So right now I have the issue of the torch, and there's a couple posts on one of the plasma machines, and I think I got this wrong where I'm touching the nozzle. I think I just need to remove this and actually straighten it out, and this will be the touching for the height sensor on the control of the computer. knowing that at that point I don't know where to touch the material and at what height I'm going to be cutting. So for those guys on the plasma forums, this is what the setup is. It's basically a Range Rover Classic front end chassis with the Shiftmate chassis that I modified over the years on a Range Rover Classic axle using Defender wheels. Oh no, those are Land Rover Series 2A wheels with these tires that I had off of my RV that were just sitting there. These are ridiculously large tires. They're 305 70 16. It's huge. It's comically big on a Range Rover. What is it? 5.5 wide tire. It's just hilarious. I love it. I love the way they actually fit on this axle. But anyhow, that's for the Land Rover community to kind of chuckle on. It's all makeshift. It has a Range Rover Classic panhard welded to custom brackets to keep it from sliding over, and then it has custom trailing arms that go to the axle. You can see it over there. So that's a rear. This is a rear axle on a front chassis. So it's backwards. The radiator goes over there. The transmission goes that way. And so I got rid of the front axle and put the rear axle back here using trailing arms off of the back of a Range Rover Classic. So this is kind of comically funny and weird. But yes, that's going to be the next project you guys will be. If you guys have any thoughts on the whole project, please comment below. Let me know. Nothing's concrete on paper yet. This is just the beginning of this project. So please feel free to tell me that I'm crazy. Oh, by the way, I love my bumper. It's a I made this bumper using Defender lights. It's just like a 1.5 or a 2" by 6 beam, and I welded to the chassis and tapered it at the sides to make it look like a Defender, sort of, or Land Rover Series rear cross member. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, using, and this is attached to a trailer harness. I've already hooked it up and it worked pretty good. So yeah, there's a lot of loose ends on this project, especially with the compressor. But stay tuned. We'll work out those kinks and those details along the way as we continue to work on this project little by little. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one, and look forward to your comments below.